Yeah. All right. All right. Peace, everybody. I'm Nkoyo Binah, and I am hosting a podcast that I wanted to do in honor of my ancestor, my warrior women for Black August. And I think it's going to go further. And we'll probably do it throughout September, October, whenever I feel like, whenever I stop, because I got so many warrior women that I do admire, and I got things I want to talk about. So this is I'm live here with a good sister that I met through my husband. Ojuo. Let me see. Was it 2000? I'm bad with dates. God diggity
Same
dog.
here. Same here.
It was a couple years, about 4 5 years ago, something like that. Met the sister. We've gone. She, came in on and showed us around town when we came to Be More a couple of years back. And I just thought this was the bomb sister ever since, especially when I found out you were rolling with a whole group of dudes, and you was the sister OG in the bunch, and you was heading at me. I was like, yeah, hold your ground, sister, hold your ground. So I secretly was shouting out to you. I didn't know much about you, but I was like, man, yeah, she go hard. She hanging with them brothers, and she making them bow down how you were making them bow down. So I was talking to one day, and just was saying, Dr. Ma'at, she cool. What I just don't know if I know much about her, but she seemed like she got some mystery with it. And I was like, if somebody needs to find out, I'm nosy. My grandma always told me, you just nosy, just want to know everything. So I think I kind of do. But I was like, man, I'm gonna ask her. He was like, yeah, she doing so. I'm like, what? She what? I'm like, Dr. Miles, nah. This sister ain't been in the trenches like you saying she is. So I was like, yeah, I gotta talk to the sister. She got some stories, and I was like, I wanted to. Going back to my original thought was that the spirit came to me and was like, just honor the women that those women, those have transitioned, those are still living right now and
Ashe.
transforming. Honor them now for this month. This is, we spend so much time talking about liberation for our people, and our people could not be here without us, without the foundation. With God is you. We the black woman. We the cream of the crop, the maker. I believe all that. Whatever they say about when they, I know I hear saying the prayer sometimes. The Nation of Islam. I be like, yeah, that's talking about me. I know that you're saying, but that I'm God, and I automatically think that, and I try not to think that so I won't become arrogant. But anyway, I'm here talking to my sister, Professor Morgan State. Sister is an entrepreneur, bomb ass hustler. She's always just rising to the occasion. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me and talk with me a little bit, just look candidly. Um, and just talk about what I had to say. Wow, warrior women. I know these are words that have negative connotations to it, but I just know that I said we always take and we go deeper. We go with the original meaning, and we making it work for what we want it to work for. So put that energy in it. So I wanted to invite you on, and I'm glad you accepted my invitation to come on. Just talk a little bit about your wow warrior times, and how you arrived to this point. So again, without further ado, Sister Dr. Oya Ma'at. Peace.
Peace. And thank you so much, Mama and Koyo, for that beautiful and that beautiful and warming and honest and transparent welcoming. So I thank you and I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I'm humbled by your invitation to be featured as one of your warrior women. And so I give thanks for that.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for accepting the invitation. I'm going to get started before we get into the dialogue. I want to get started as I always do, and that's by honoring my ancestors, honoring those women that came before me. I don't
Ashe.
take it lightly when I say ancestor as a cliche. It becomes a fad sometimes. It becomes just like, yeah, my ancestors. But I look and I call the names of those direct ancestors that I have every day. Those women that I saw just doing the do, just living their life. and I pay homage to them. And so when I say my ancestors, I really mean those women that directly influenced me, as well as
Likewise.
those, you know what I'm saying, as well as those in my bloodline. So we can call out a couple of, and community and personal warrior women that you would like to. And if you like, you go ahead and you can start, and I'll follow behind.
I would like to begin with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, Myrtle Bailey. Ashe.
Ashe, Myrtle Baby, Ashe. I would like to begin with my maternal grandmother, Ola Morns, Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Who else?
Evelina Francis.
Evelina Francis, Ashe. Freddie
Ashe.
Searles, Ashe.
Ashe. Ro-
Um, Go
Rose
ahead.
Webb. Rose Webb.
Rose Webb, Ashe.
Ashe.
Vicky Jackson, Ashe.
Ashe. Anyone else in your direct bloodline?
Yeah, my aunt Linda Jackson, Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
In community, let's go community, you know. Uh,
Dr. Patricia Newton.
Dr. Patricia Newton, Ashe.
Ashe.
I give honor and respect to Volley Stoglin, Ashe.
Ashe. Uh,
Um, Go ahead.
Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Ashe. I
Ashe.
have to say, Cecilia Fatima, Ashe.
Yes. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman, Ashe.
Ashe.
I'll have to say, Fannie Lou Hamer.
Oh, Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe.
Ada B. Wells.
Ida B. Wells,
Ashe.
Ashe. Nina Simone, Ashe.
Yes.
Yes,
Ashe.
yes, yes, yes. Anybody else? I say Eartha Kitt,
Oh,
Ashe.
yes. Eartha Kitt. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. Amy Jock Garvey and Amy, second wife, Amy. Ooh,
Of
forgive
Garvey.
me.
Ashe.
She's a Amy Garvey. All right, both the wives, Ashe. All right, all
Ashe.
right, all right.
Su-
Anybody else?
yes, Suzanne Valeria. She was a sister from the Haitian Revolution. Suzanne.
Yes,
Yes,
Suzanne Valeria,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe. Queen Nani of the Maroons, Ashe.
Oh, Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
And any other? You have any other?
I'm thinking about Catherine Flawn. She was also a
Catherine
hero in the Haitian.
Flawn.
Yes, Ashe.
Ashe,
Yeah.
yes. Shout out to all the warrior women in the Haitian Revolution. Ashe.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know, without
Ashe.
us, it would not be no revolution. It would not be no win for the Haitians. Ashe. Shoot,
Ashe.
shoot. I give thanks for all warrior women. I'm going to say Sandra Bland, Corin Gaines,
Ashe.
Breonna Taylor, Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
Um, Afeni Shakur, Ashe.
Oh, Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe, and I give thanks for all those war women we have not named, but we certainly have not forgotten. Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Oh.
Yes, 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 yes. I give thanks. I'm trying not to hold it. I'm trying to remember where I am because you know at the Hoover Academy we online we hold it. The baby's trying to compete with us, be like Ashe, and I'm like, God, oh, we got to hold it for about 5 minutes, but yeah. So I try to remember where I am, so I'm not in competition with your
Right.
Ashe. I'm just saying. Yes. So peace and power to all those who are out, who are listening in and tuning in. I give thanks. I don't take it lightly for anyone taking out their time to speak to me, to hold this space with me. I give thanks for brother Knowledge Born Allah. That's my brother. I give thanks for you, my king, my rider, my partner in success. Baba Amin is her, my sister in midwifery, Monique Garner. I give thanks for all you guys and anyone else that is on Gale at Night. I peace to you, sister. That's a cool sister too. She came and hung out with us for Baba's birthday last year, so I give thanks for her. Anybody that is watching, I give thanks. I want to make sure that I welcome Dr. Ma'at. We are holding a space and a place for us to be able to dialogue openly and freely. I know that you guys are used to seeing Dr. Ma'at in her academic portrayal and her academic behavior, especially when she's what I mean. These are these two bookheads, and I be looking like, man, y'all go ahead, y'all had that. That's great dialogue, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I ain't got no shame in any of that. But I give thanks for y'all being able to be the ones to dive in, go get that knowledge, and be able to disperse it in a way that we can all attain it and glean something from it. So I give thanks
Ashe.
for that. Yeah, I give thanks. So let's just get to it. Let's tell for first. tell a little bit about yourself. What would you want people to know? Just to, as far as how they can follow you and things like that, how they can check you out. I want to make sure I do that because I am aware that you have a following. Okay, you have a following.
No, absolutely. So if anybody wants to follow me on social media, if anyone would like to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter, on TikTok, on IG, and on YouTube at Dr. Ma'at. At Dr. Ma'at. And so I'm on, like I said, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. I don't know for how long, Mama and Koyo, because they're censoring me on Instagram now.
Wow,
So,
really?
oh yes, oh yes,
Wow.
they
Oh.
accuse me. They accuse me of posting disinformation or false information when I spoke about my views on the reversal of Roe versus Wade, the reversal of Roe versus Wade. And so,
Mm.
I didn't say anything false. And
Of course not.
anyone who goes and they look at it, what they did was they labeled it false information and said, fact checkers said this, and so
Wow.
that means that it's what she's saying is false, and then they fact checked it for something that I didn't even say in the video.
Wow.
So like, so
Wow. Yeah.
I got hit with that
Wow.
for something I didn't even say in the video.
Interesting.
So I said they're just trying to censor me, and and I'm not the only one. There are a
Right.
lot of authentic Black voices on social media that they are censoring. I'm not gonna
Right.
I don't have to name anybody, but it is a lot of people who are being censored at this time because right now they're trying to well, they have created and they're
Mhm.
trying to promote a certain narrative, and
Right.
anything that goes against that narrative, they're silencing that or
Yeah.
attempting to silence that. But we're going to keep it on. In fact, I'm in the process of creating my own website. So I have a website for my company, but
Okay.
I want to have a website for droyama'at.com. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
So
Right. Right.
if something happens and they take down my social media pages, at least people can go to the website to access my content. Whether it's my podcast or whether it's programs that I've
Right.
created, it's a place where people can come, a central place where people can visit to access and to learn about the different things that I have going on. So I'm in the process of
That's
doing
what's
that as
up.
well.
That's what's up. Yeah, stream putting everything under the umbrella of you, who you are, all the things you do, and that's as they do. Not only the fact of because you are of African descent, but of course because of the gender. You're a woman. You're a Black woman, and you talking how you talking. They like, no, we're gonna shut her up because that's what they used to doing. They used to trying to shut us up as especially as Black women. So let me not,
Absolutely.
you know. But again, that goes into the point of us being wow. It's like despite all that, whatever you talking about, I'm still gonna speak my truth. I'm still gonna
That's
express
right.
myself. You're
That's
not
right.
going to be able to shut me up that way. So yeah, that's how they want to say, and that's when you go against the grain and you don't play into that gender role, then you're labeled as wild. You're labeled as masculine. You're labeled as angry, as
Come on.
defiant. You know what I'm
Come on.
saying? And so I
Come on.
man, be like f all that, forget all that. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
don't.
And I've heard it all. I've been labeled as all of it. Every label
Mm,
that you just threw out there,
mm,
I've been labeled as all of it.
right,
And
right,
Mama and Koyo, I had to be honest. It used to bother me.
right.
It used to bother me,
Yeah,
a
as it
few
should.
years ago. But then
Hmm.
I just said, you know what? I just need to be apologetically me. And you
Right,
can think the way you think, whatever you think or whatever you believe about me. That's your issue. It's not my
right,
issue. So now I don't hold on
right.
to it. That's
That's
your
right.
issue.
That's
It's not
yours.
my issue.
That's not mine. Yeah, that's on you. As the new song, that's on you, baby. That's on
Oh,
you,
you
baby. I don't know
real.
who
That's
sang it,
on
but that's
right.
that's
That's
on
on
you.
you. Right.
Yeah, right. Man, so saying that as far as with the terminology, I broke it down. I went and looked at Webster's dictionary definition of wild, and of course they said untamed, uncivilized, and untouched, and things of that nature. And I say, I can take untouched. I can say right, but we all know that as a Black woman, there's not many of us that's on this soil of land that has been untouched by society, by the things that in our environment, and what this government or what of this regime of patriarchal energy that's been trying to dominate us for the years since they brought us to this place, has tried to we still are forging through as wild And especially like you said, you had to decide that's not on me. I can't be responsible for the things that you say or feel or do about
Right.
me. I'm just
Oh,
doing, I'm
right.
living my best life. I'm doing me.
Right, your perceptions. I'm not responsible
Yes.
for your perceptions.
Right,
And
right,
what I notice in this society, is that they want to put you in a box. You
right,
know,
right, right,
it's because you are a female, you should conduct yourself this way. So, and
right.
then when you go outside of that box, something is wrong with you. You're
Mm-hmm,
abnormal. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? You're an
Yes,
anomaly.
yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Even down
Absolutely.
to this whole concept of femininity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the whole concept. So okay, so in order to be qualified as feminine, you have to like pink, you have to like dresses,
Right,
you go get your
right.
nails done, you go get your
Yeah,
hair done,
yeah.
you're into makeup, right?
And you just
You
act
play,
so, and
yeah.
all that. Mm-mm.
All females don't fit into that
No,
box. So
no.
are you saying because I would rather, instead of, and I did play with Barbie dolls, but but instead
Yeah,
of
I
playing
did
with,
too.
but there's
I
some
cut
women
their
who did,
hair off.
right.
I burned it up with
Right.
my hot comb.
Right. And so I'm just like, so for females who don't play with Barbie dolls, or
Right,
maybe, let me speak to myself, like I'm not into like the hair, the makeup. If I have to get dolled up for an occasion, I will. So are you
right.
saying that I'm less feminine than the next woman because these are things that I
Yes.
don't prefer to do?
Mm-hmm.
And so that
Right,
whole concept of femininity and masculinity, I think that's something that we definitely, as a community in the near future, need to unpack and
right,
to define for ourselves, because we get
right,
a lot of our definitions from European, from Eurocentric folks. I'm sorry, not Eurocentric, but European people. A lot of
right.
our definitions come from European people in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what's feminine, what's masculine. So the masculine man is the man that's plays football and he's into
Mm-hmm.
weightlifting, and
Right, right, right.
but every guy isn't into that. So does that
No,
mean he's less masculine than the guy who is into that? So anyway,
right.
what I noticed is, it's what I decided to do, not what I noticed, but what I decided to do was not to allow people to put me in that box.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Right,
not going to put me
right.
in your box.
No,
I'm going
no.
to be who I choose to be. And
Right,
I'm
right,
and I'm okay if I don't fit. It's okay with me if
right.
I don't fit in your box.
I don't feel. Yeah,
You
I
know?
love that. I love that. And it's like with because I feel like I moved that way as well. I think that was the one thing that I could control and hold on with my early childhood. I didn't have control. We're born to people that are older than us, who take care of us and to protect us and to to keep us safe. And we don't have control over our own. We can't do it for ourselves as children. So mine was violated over and over again, but I always found a way to rebel and say, "You're not gonna keep me held here. You're not gonna bind me to this what you think I am. I'm not gonna be." I was labeled. Well, you're gonna be a single mama in the projects with 3, 4 kids. You're gonna be on welfare all your life. You're not gonna, have different, all kinds of different baby daddies, or you're not gonna complete high school. You're not gonna go college. And
Mm.
I and even and I'm going to say it was from the system, but it was also from my community,
Come
and
on. Can we
it was
talk
from,
about it? Come on.
yes, it was
Come
from my
on.
community because that's what was expected of you, especially if your mama and your mama's mama would ended up in that role. It was like, oh, that's what it's going to be. This is a generation. This is what we're going to do. And it's like, what? And so you're just going to ignore who I am as me and just
Right.
say label me because of what I grew up under, and because of the color of my skin, and because I am a woman. And
That's
it's
right.
like, I'm gonna show you, and I had to break those cycles and create new ones. But in the midst of all that, not having control over what happened to me as a child, I always went against the grain. I'm like you. It's
Mhm.
like I didn't play with mini dolls. I played with GI Joes. I played with Tonka trucks. I may play some marbles here and there, but I'm gonna jump off my roof onto a dirty mattress. We're gonna flip. We're gonna climb
That's what
trees
we did.
because
That's what we
I
did.
had
Yeah.
I was the only girl among my 5 or 6 other boy cousins, and that's just what in the hang in the hood. I played sideline kill. I played street basketball tackle. I did that, and that's just what
Mhm.
we did. It wasn't, oh, you a boy because you do that.
Come
No,
on. Come on.
what,
Come
what?
on.
Because I might want to go, and then the next day I might want to play with my homegirls, and we're gonna make mud pies. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna play dress up every now and then. But then I'm gonna go out
Or
here
beauty
in the
shop, or beauty shop. We
right
used to play
beauty shop.
beauty
You know what I'm
shop.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, tea. We're gonna get some tea. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna have a tea time. That's the duality of me. Don't
Yes.
box me in. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely I feel you on that. And I didn't, I just liked as a grown person, maybe 10, 15 years ago, dresses. Because I just didn't, that's not what my thing. But and of course, oh, you just a tomboy. You just
I
always,
heard
you
that
just,
too. I heard that
I'm like,
too. Hmm.
I just like what I like. I don't know what that means, but I like
Right.
what
Like
I
what is,
like.
like
You know
what
what I'm
does that
saying?
mean?
Right.
Like what does that mean? And for me, the dresses that I enjoy wearing, I
Uh-huh.
love long African print dresses.
Yeah. All right.
That's what I
Yes.
like.
Right.
I'm not a mini skirt person.
Right.
I'm not a
Right.
short dress person, but I will
Nope.
wear like a nice long flowy African garment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy wearing.
You
Other than
can't help
that,
it because you're royalty. You can't help it. You can't help it. It's in your blood. It's in your DNA. You know.
but that's what I enjoy. Other than that,
Right.
like I'm in a t-shirt and some shorts,
Right.
other than
Right.
that. And
Right. Right.
like you, I grew up around a lot of males. I was the only female on my block.
Right.
There were four young boys that I used to play with down the street, and I did what they did. They
Mm-hmm.
like to play the Nintendo. I played the Nintendo with them. They like to
Right.
play with, GI Joes and Transformers. I played with them.
Right.
They were
Right.
outside playing football, and I used to play football with them until I hit
Yep.
puberty, right?
Right. I
Until I hit
know. You get
puberty.
so get a
Till I
little
hit
stuff.
puberty, it was like, oh no, can't go out here with you all, 'cause they elbowing you, and then so I had to
Yeah.
stop going to the basketball court and the
Right.
football field with them when I started going through puberty. But
Right.
I grew up doing that, and like you
Right.
said, I was called names. Oh, she's a
Right.
tomboy, or oh, she's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be gay, or
Mm-hmm.
she's this. And
Mm-hmm.
what I
Rough.
noticed, and you know what I noticed too, they do that a lot with even children today.
Mm-hmm.
Now the label is, when we were coming up, it was tomboy.
Right.
Now it's, if there's a little girl who may like some things that boys like, now she may be a transgender. They're doing that a lot.
Oh,
They're
they're
doing that
going
a lot.
right.
Like I
Right.
even read that they're giving children puberty blockers to stop them from going through puberty, to let them decide what
Oh,
gender
see,
they're doing.
that's yeah,
Mama and
that's
Koyo,
experimentation. That
they're doing all sorts of stuff, and projecting these things onto the children,
right,
because like you
right.
said, it's not the child,
Nope,
it's the
no.
adult projecting these
It.
things
That's
onto the
right.
children.
That's right. Just like what you're saying, they are deciding that you can decide. Why do you need to do that? Why do you? They're going to do that regardless. It's a natural thing. Why do you have to give them permission to decide? You're controlling.
That you're
You're
controlling.
experimenting. You're wanting to do. You want to implement that old Eurocentric nasty old mess. I don't want to. I don't know if I can cuss it or not tonight.
Right,
So
right,
I'm
right.
trying
Go
to
ahead, mama. Go
control
ahead,
myself.
mama. You go ahead, mama.
But I'm like, what the hell? It's like, what? Why are we wanting to do this old it's almost like Baba would talk about, the early Europeans, and just saying, it's a natural tendency for them to like each other, because that's what they made it against. And so, I mean, made it with, or warred with, or went and hunted with, and then it became mates. But I'm like, we know naturally we are spiritual beings. We, as
Come
black people,
on.
we know
Come
I
on.
can go hunt with you, I can go kick it with you, but I don't have to
I don't have
sleep
to
with
sleep with
you.
you.
I ain't got to
Right.
sleep with
Facts.
you. It's like,
Facts.
why we got to go there? But that's that bull crap, and that's why
That's
we
their
have to
that's
know who
who we
we
are.
are.
Ashe.
Dr.
Ashe.
Francis Cress Wilson always spoke of, you have to know they're going to try to ease all they bullshit into you psychologically. That's why you got to
Mhm.
watch the propaganda. You got to watch what you allow to be fed into, and what and the roles that we're accepting. Oh yeah, I'm binary, this and this, because
Yes. Binary. What's another one? You
uh
got non-binary,
right, androgynous, and
androgynous.
and
It's so
I
many
don't even
pronouns.
know.
I heard this.
Right.
I heard this over like 20 something
That's ridiculous.
pronouns
It's
that
ridiculous.
have been created.
It's
And
ridiculous.
and like you said, I agree 100% with what you said. Not only did Dr. Francis Cress Wilson say that, I'm thinking about Nana Marimba Annie. She talked about how our
Yes,
culture is our
yes,
immune system.
right,
So it
absolutely.
fights against that. So like you
Mm-hmm.
said,
Right.
we have to know who we are, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to teach, practice, and enforce. Or teach, practice, promote, and enforce
Right.
our culture, because our
That's right.
culture is our immune system. It guards us,
Right.
it protects
Yes.
us,
Yes.
from this insane European cultural reality that we
Right.
experience every
Right,
day.
right,
Every
right.
day.
Every day, 24 hours a day, and they compartmentalize things. We don't, everything is tied in. Somebody said it's fluid. They got fluid now. So what the hell is fluid? That means I just go wherever the flow.
I
I
think it
can
go whatever.
I
I
if
think
I
it's
like if I see a
this.
hole in a wall, I'm gonna roll in it.
I'm a
What?
roll. It's yeah.
If I see a cucumber, I'm gonna go with I'm fluid. I like you, cucumber. What kind of bull crap is
What
I'm
kind of
like
bullshit? And another
bullshit.
thing I wanted to say with our children, and I've had conversations with my boys about
Right,
ensuring that I always tell them, don't let the dominant society dictate our culture, our morals, and our values.
right,
I don't
right,
care, because you know how the kids say, well, everybody and so I don't
right.
care what
I don't care.
everybody and so and doing. That is not acceptable in our household. And so we
That's
got to
right.
make sure that we teach our young people, you know, that
Right.
regardless of what the dominant society is doing, let them do them. But we're going to continue to do us over
That's
here.
right. Right. You don't have to do what everyone else does. My grandmother always told me that. So, because your friends jump off the cliff, you going to jump off the cliff. And I'm like, dang, it ain't that serious. No, of course not. But they are still getting this, or they still going here. And just like, whatever hell, I'm not their mama. So, I'm yours. I'm your guardian. And you're going to do this because that's not what you're doing. And I had to learn, go the road less traveled. That's the road. And that's what
Yes.
that's I'm telling you, me being able to be me and do me against all odds, that saved me in a lot of
Mm-hmm,
ways, because
mm-hmm.
like I said, childhood, early sexual assault, early just dysfunction on a umpteenth level of being in a family. But even as I became a teenager, knowing that I can keep for me, that can't be taken away from me. My innocence can, all those other things physically can, but my spirit can't be broken from that. And so I always wanted to go where the other ones are. I'm not like them. Where they go, I don't want to go, because that
That's
was a
right.
sense of security for me. So I'm grateful, and I'm thank the gods for that. Whatever that was within me, I am grateful to have been able to maintain that, because I could have gotten so lost. I could have really become whatever they said I was gonna be. You gonna be a hoe. You gonna be like your mama. You ain't gonna be shit. You gonna have shit. You gonna give up your children. Ain't no man gonna want you. You got 3 children out of wedlock. Ain't nobody want you. Oh, okay then. Thanks.
But
I'm
that's
sitting
like
here with 8. I have 8. I have a whole husband, been married for 15 years. So I like to be, I don't say it, much, but I think I'll be like, you sure right. I show you, baby. I tell you,
mhm.
that's where I
and,
am. You
and
know,
all of that was their stuff.
thank you.
Projection. That was
Projection. That was
their
theirs.
stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
was their stuff.
That
And
was
so
ours.
I'm at a point. I just turned 41,
Come
and
on.
and I'm
Come
like,
on. Welcome.
and so I'm Mama Nkoyo. I'm at a point where I'm just like, look, that's your mess. And as my mother would say, that's your little red wagon. You push it or pull it.
Come
You know what I mean?
on.
But you
Right.
won't shove it over here to me to
You won't
push it or
shove it
pull
to
it.
me. Nope.
You
You
push and
push it.
pull your wagon.
Right,
And so
right.
that's where I am. I am that I am. I'm who
I
I
love
am.
it. I love it. And the fact that you are who you are, let's move into this. So, yes. Oh, what's somebody, Gail and I say, yeah, we got a bunch of children. We got about 8, that together. 6 I had biologically. I got about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more that I've adopted, I've taken on, and I love it. But I
They're
still,
mama, they're all yours.
oh,
They're all yours, because in
oh,
my family we don't do the biological
right,
and
right,
non-biological.
right,
They're all
right,
mine. If they're
right.
mine, if they belong to me, they
They,
belong to my
that's
mother and
right,
my
that's
father
right,
and my
that's right,
uncles and my aunts and
right.
my cousins. Once we bring you into the village, and see, that's the African way. See,
That
that's all
is,
that other
that's
stuff,
it,
that stepmother and stepfather and
right.
half this and half that. That's the European folks.
That's that
That's that
bullshit.
stuff they do.
Yeah, yeah.
I was reading a book called Cultural Unity of Black Africa. And I may be butchering the title. It was a book
Mm-hmm.
by Shikantai Jope. I think it was
Okay,
called The Cultural Unity of Black Africa. Tell
okay.
Baba to let me know in the chat.
Right. He
That's the
will
correct
find it.
title. Yeah, The Cultural Unity of Black Africa by Sheikh Anta, right? Some people
Uh-huh.
say Diop. But
Uh-huh.
in that book, he said that if you went to a traditional African village, because everybody in the because all of the children would say mama and baba, will refer to all of the
Right,
adults
right.
as mama and
Mm-hmm.
baba. He
Right.
said that spectators would come into an African village and couldn't even tell you who the biological
Come
mother
on.
was,
That's right.
because
That's right.
of what the children said, but not only because of what they said, but because of how they were treated. So
Mm-hmm.
all of the
That's
children,
right.
so if you were in my presence, you were my
You're
child,
my
and
child.
I
That's
cared for
right.
you as if you were
Right.
my child.
That's
And so
right.
in a traditional African village, you couldn't even tell who was the
Right.
biological mother,
Right.
who's the biological father, because
Uh-huh.
everybody was Baba and Mama.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't deal with that non-biological or
Me either.
this one
Never
is
have.
really mine and that
Ne-
one, but to be forthright,
okay.
I don't have any biological children.
Mm-hmm.
All of my children have been adopted. I'm in the process of taking
Come
care of that, and I think
on.
I shared that with Baba. So maybe next year. But yeah,
Wow. Come
maybe next
on.
year. And one of the Baba Laos said, because it has been this urge
Uh-huh.
for me to
Mm-hmm.
carry one or
Mm-hmm.
two. And
All right then.
my Baba Lao, I gotta talk to you about it. But
Come
my
on.
Baba Lao was saying that somebody's trying to get through. So he's
Come
saying that he
on,
thinks that
guy.
somebody's trying to get through,
Yeah, so
and they're
you need to
trying to
bring them
come through
forth too.
you. Yeah, they're
Come
trying to
on.
come through
Bring
you.
them in. Bring them
Yeah,
in.
and that's the route that I'm going. But I love my babies.
That's what's up.
Harvey, Isaiah, Jalen,
Yes.
Brianna. I love them to pieces.
That's what's up.
And so
And
yeah,
and as it should, like you said, that's the village. That's what I grew up on. That was why my grandmother, it was nothing for me, for her to raise me. It was nothing for my aunts to take care of me when they didn't have to. They were teenagers, you know what I'm saying? They could have been busy doing their thing, but they picked up and they took care of me. And so that was the way it was. Like you said, it was like you could walk somewhere and be like, I don't know who mama is who. And so that's why it was normal for you. I went to time school at a time where you went to school, you got in trouble, the principal gonna go whoop that ass. Then you gonna get that note to take home, and if some the teacher might get you, then on the way home, if a Miss Annie Mae down the way, you picking a pomegranate from her tree, she find out, you gonna get it, then you gonna get home and get it from your mama.
absolutely.
That's just the way it was. And there was no, don't you put your hands on my child, because I could trust that you in my village, you're my neighbor. I can trust that you're going to handle mine just like you handle yours, and I'm going to do the
That's
same.
right.
And I miss that. We miss that. It's
I
so
miss that as well.
individualistic now. And that's what they've driven into our psyche, is
Mhm.
that it's an individual, it's all about you individually. It's about, I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's
get
my
mine, I'm going to
child,
get
right?
mine.
Yeah, this is my child.
Right,
Don't you? This is
right,
my. Everything is
right,
my.
right,
Until you need
right.
some help, and then it's where you. But
That
everything is
part,
my.
that
Right?
part,
Until you
that
need some
part.
help. But yeah, they have it, and and I understand in this day and age, people being cautious
Right,
about who they
right,
entrust their
right,
children with,
right,
because
right.
it's a stat that Dr. Patricia Newton had presented at a conference, not a conference, it's a lecture maybe a few years back. And she
Hmm.
talked about how in Baltimore, 8 out of 10 boys are touched before the age of 18, and then 9 out of 10 girls
Mm.
in Baltimore are touched before the age of 18. So in Baltimore,
Oh
there's a
my
high rate.
gosh.
There's a high
Wow.
rate, of child molestation
Hmm.
and yeah, and so
Right.
and sexual assault. And so I
What do you
do
think that's?
understand. What do you say, Mama and Koyo?
I was saying, what do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think that? What do you think that, just your personal, or
My personal
right,
thoughts on why,
right,
why. Mama and Koyo, I don't know if it's this over sexualized society
right,
that we live in, because it's
right,
extremely over sexualized. You
right,
see it in the cartoons, you see it in the
right,
movies, you see it in the
right.
commercials, but a lot of people over sexualized. They're saying now, some research are talking about minor attracted people and try to justify pedophilia. But
Yeah.
pedophilia was something that was prevalent in European culture. And
Hmm.
so Bob and I just literally had a talk about whether or not Black African people are cultural creations of Europeans. So I feel like
Mm.
a lot of that may be because we literally have adopted their culture,
Right,
their
right,
ways, because that was prevalent, in Greek, in Greek
right.
culture and Rome
Oh yeah.
culture.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And so is it because we have become cultural creations of them? Is this why we're doing this? So I'm leaning towards saying that. I'm leaning
Right.
towards saying that, it's a mental illness.
Right.
I'm leaning towards, thinking that it's, just living in this over sexualized society.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Okay.
it's not. I don't think it's just one thing.
Oh
It,
no,
it,
it's
it may
absolutely
be.
not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It may be a
Yeah.
multitude of things.
Absolutely. I
But it
agree.
is but it is prevalent in the community. So I do understand why people are cautious
Mm-hmm.
about entrusting their children with people in the neighborhood, because you just don't know.
Right.
And they
Right.
say that
Right.
hurt people. So
That's
this
right.
person touches, then this person start touching, then this person, and
Right.
so I do understand why people are apprehensive. And that's why healing, Mama and Koyo, is extremely important. We need to heal psychologically,
We really do.
emotionally,
We
and
really do.
physically, so we
Right.
can get back to a healthy village. Because I don't just
That's
want a
right.
village. I don't just want a
No.
village. Let me be clear.
No.
I want to
No.
live in a healthy village, or be a part
Yes.
of a healthy
Ashe.
village. You know what I mean?
Ashe. 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 I agree. And going back to what you said, as far as you know, the it being such a the hurt people when again me I'm very transparent about my childhood sexual trauma. I That's a mental thing, because you start to believe there's something wrong with me. Did I attract that? And is that me? And then you, even to the point to where I didn't, when I had children, I was very, I had was anxious about, bathing my babies, anxious about changing their diapers. I didn't want to touch them because I don't want to accidentally touch anything and feel like, oh, I enjoyed that. And I'm like, I will take myself out, because I'm like, that is it. It becomes, it's such a psychological thing, that it's not just physically that you are violated and destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mental thing, because they put their shit on you. They put
Yes.
it on you. No matter what, I don't care what anyone says, you're gonna always believe it's something I could have done. It's something I did. Was I really fast? Did I walk around and say, did I? And you have to work with that. Like you said, doing the work, you have to work with that. People talk about and throw the word shadow work around so loosely, and they say, oh, it's so surface. They say it's about the ego. You're just dealing with your ego and your dark side. No, damn it, you're dealing with all that. You're dealing with your child side. You're dealing with the shit you did. You're dealing with the stuff you had no control. You're dealing with you just being you right now. I'm ornery as fuck. Why am I ornery? You gotta deal with that. Why the hell
Right.
am I ornery? Why do I
Right.
why do I look at people and be like, and they ain't done nothing to you? Why? You have
Mm-hmm.
to sit and deal with that. So, saying all that to say, I get passionate, so I hope I'm not yelling. I can't
No, no,
tell
no.
if
I'm
I
with you.
am or not.
No,
So,
I'm with you.
you
I'm
know,
with you.
but establishing the fact that that's not on you, and really dealing with that energy, sitting with it, and knowing, like I said, going back to not wanting to be in a personal space with my children, I had to go and deal with that and know that I am righteous within me. I know I
Mm.
am. I didn't
Mm.
ask for none of that. That was my innocence was taken. That was something they decided to do. Now I decide to do what I want to do. I love my children. That is, and knowing the norms and the more ways around within our society, knowing I just know right from wrong. I know the laws of my art, and I know
That's
even
right.
deeper than that. You're
That's
not
right.
going to convince me that it is okay to be attracted to. So I had to tell myself that. I talk to myself daily, and that's why I instill in my children, if I don't care who it is, if you feel violated or uncomfortable, please speak your piece. Even
I
if
say the
I'm
same
touching
thing.
you,
I
if
say the
I'm
same
touching
thing.
you and you like, please, I don't feel. All right, then let's talk about it and let me figure out what we need to do.
That's
I'm
right.
very direct with that. And I believe we need to do that, as give children that voice and that freedom to be able to speak their own piece in a respectful way. Let's get respectful, right? Because I'm still from the hood, and I'm still raised by my granny, and
That's right.
I'll be ready to slap the taste out your mouth.
That's right.
so so, but being able to give them the freedom to be able to express themselves, and that was big for me. So dealing with that. So Dr. Ma'at. Who
Mhm.
was Dr. Ma'at before she was Dr. Ma'at? What made you this warrior queen? What were some of the things that, to be more specific, I guess, what was that? When was that first time that you knew, man? I don't care what they say, I'm different, but I'm
Hmm.
okay with being different. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with that.
Hmm. So when did that happen? When did I realize that?
Right.
Ah, oh
That
my
this ain't
goodness.
normal. That this ain't normal. This ain't just what everybody do. This is not what. And then and be like, no, I'm cool with that though. I'm cool with what I am. This is what. When did that?
I think it came around those teenage years, about 15, 16. You know how when you're in your teenage years, you're trying to find yourself.
Right,
You're trying to
right,
find yourself. And
right,
I went through a whole lot, when you
right.
say how I became who I am. I mean, it's really loaded. So give me some time
Come
to
on, work it
respond to
out.
that.
That's
So
absolutely,
so so
absolutely.
so born to an educator and a
Okay.
community activist. So my mom
Wow. Okay.
she still is an educator. My father was a community activist. He's now retired.
Okay.
In fact, my mother be turning 70 on Friday. My pops turned
Yay.
75 in January of this
Wow.
year. And so
Beautiful.
born into that stuff. But
Okay.
they had a lot of stuff, right? That
Right.
that they
They
brought
needed
in
to
to
unpack. Right.
exactly.
Right.
And so literally I was born uh right at the tail end of their marriage. They were married for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I came about like that last year, and my mother was getting ready to, but he begged, like, please have her, please have my child. And you know how that goes.
Right.
She's like, all right, I'm
Right.
gonna do it. And then then a year after that, they were separated, and then
Okay.
eventually they were divorced. So I
Okay.
was raised in a single parent household.
Mm-hmm.
And my father wasn't really a consistent father.
Right.
um and this is, like I said, not to say anything disparaging about him. he
Right.
he is he is who he is.
Right.
And it took me about 35 years to understand who he
Mm.
is, and
Right.
why.
Right.
And when you understand, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing when you can humanize your parents, because when you're
Yes.
younger, they're
Yes.
supposed to be perfect. So mommy's
Right.
supposed to be perfect, daddy's supposed to be
Right.
perfect. And
Right.
then you get older and you realize that these are two human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who have some stuff with them. As
Right.
as my pastor, Reverend, the late Dr. Reverend Ray, would say when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger. I remember he did a sermon on the stuff of life.
Come
And he was
on.
just like, it's the stuff of life. So both of them had their stuff. And so
Right.
my father was who he was to me at that particular time. And I'm talking about when I was in the single digits. Because he was incapable of being and giving what I felt that I needed
Right.
from him. He was just really
Mm-hmm.
incapable and
Mm-hmm.
of doing that. And so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
justifying his behavior. I'm just talking about, who
Absolutely.
he is. He's a
Right.
Vietnam vet. He went over there. He saw some things. He came back with
Yeah.
Agent Orange. He came back
Yeah.
with PTSD. He came back.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. And see, that's another thing, Mama and Koyo, that
Right.
we don't talk about is
Right.
how the Vietnam War, in any war, let me be clear, World War I, World War II, World War II,
Right.
um, the Vietnam War, the
Right.
war in Iraq, right? Desert
Mm-hmm.
Shield,
Right.
Desert Storm,
Right.
how they impact our people,
Mm-hmm.
physically, mentally, and
Right.
emotionally. And so
Right.
he was adversely
Absolutely.
impacted by the Vietnam War, and he
Absolutely.
brought that stuff,
Beautiful.
with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
my mother had some issues, growing up, and she brought that stuff with her,
Right.
and neither of them healed. And
Right.
so I said, no
Right.
wonder, the marriage didn't work out, because it was a lot of stuff happening,
Mm-hmm.
on both ends. So anyway, I was raised by a single mother. My mother worked a whole lot. She worked two jobs to make
Mm.
ends meet. And while mommy was working, there was some things that happened to me. As a little
Right.
girl,
Right.
I was touched. I was
Right.
assaulted. As
Right.
a young girl. And
Right.
so I became angry and bitter. I'm
Mm-hmm.
8 years old and I can't defend myself, against, it's actually three teenage boys. So I'm like, just
Mm.
yeah, and so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
can't defend myself. So
Right.
that was a issue, because you're saying why am I who I am? I got to walk you through the story.
Come on.
So
Walk
so
me.
then so
Walk me.
then at the age of 12, um, my brother passed. My brother, he passed in
Wow.
1993, November the 4th, 1993. He had me
Wow.
by 11 years. So he was born in 1970. I was born in 81. So
Right.
lost my brother. And so
Wow.
I'm like this ticking time bomb,
Right.
around
Right.
13, 14, 15. I'm
Mm.
angry. I'm
Yeah.
suffering from neglect,
Right. And you're dealing
abandonment
with puberty.
issues. Yeah,
Right.
dealing with puberty, going through that.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like I was a ticking time bomb. I was
Right.
just angry growing up,
Absolutely.
and just but smart,
Right.
always into my
Mm-hmm.
books because my mother pushed
Mm-hmm.
education heavy in our
Right.
household. That was a household
Right.
thing. You better go to school, you better get good grades. And
Right.
so
Right.
I was smart, but I was, like I said, still battling, a lot of issues
Mm-hmm.
until one day I came across the book From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder at the age of 15.
Wow.
This is 1996. And
Wow.
so I was downtown with my friends. We're down there, we're wilding out. We're at Lexington Market, which is a
Mm.
place where people go and get food, and it's a lot
Okay.
of different places where you get food. People are selling purses and all different sorts of stuff, sort of like a flea market. And
Okay.
so there
Okay.
was a brother selling some books, and we of course he called us over to the table, and we were like, "No, I'm not interested in purchasing any books." We probably were broke anyway, but we didn't
Right.
purchase the books. And so he decided to give me the book From the Browder File for free. Like out of all of my friends, he
Gave
handed
it
me
to
the book
you.
From the Browder
Come on.
File for free. And
Right.
so I took it home with me. It sat on my desk, my table, or my dresser, or whatever, for months. And then I began to become curious about the cover. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started, I looked at it and I said, oh, so I read, if you open the first page, you look at the first page,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony T. Browder describes what the cover art is. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
I said, oh man. And so then I just started reading and reading and reading and reading. And that is when I began my, I think that was what sparked my consciousness
Right.
at that
Right.
particular junction in my
Right.
life.
Right.
And I was so excited about what I was reading. I was coming at my mom with,
Right.
the information, and my teachers, at high school,
Right.
and telling them about what I
Right.
learned. And then I began to want more. I wanted to learn
Mm-hmm.
more. And so
Mm-hmm.
I went to it's a cultural bookstore, and you went there with your husband and children when I took you there. Remember, I said
Yeah.
it's like the Kemet of consciousness,
Yes, you did.
everyone's
Yes.
place.
Beautiful
So
place.
went
Yes.
went there, and Baba Nati turned me on, to the work of Dr. Naeem Akbar. So I read Breaking the Chains of Psychological
Come
Slavery.
on.
I read The
Yes.
Community of Self, Know
Yes.
Thyself. Then I started reading philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey, the autobiography of Malcolm X. So I'm just reading, and I'm just hungry, hungry, hungry. And just
Right.
like I shared with your husband, I went back to sleep. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Okay.
got I got in college, and I was studying engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And engineering is very time consuming.
Right.
It's a very complex discipline,
Right.
and you got to put in the work to become a
Right.
electrical engineer. It's one of the hardest engineering disciplines. So a lot of that stuff kind of took a back seat.
Okay. I feel you.
Learning about, they took a back seat because now I'm at Morgan. I'm into my
Mm-hmm.
studies, not partying, because again, engineering requires a lot of your time.
Right. A
So
lot more
I'm
time.
at Morgan. I'm getting tutored in certain classes because the material's harder. I went from
Right.
not having to study to having to study. I'm in the lab till 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, working on projects. And so all of that conscious stuff kind of went on the back burner. It took a
Wow.
back seat to my
Wow.
studies, and then while I was at Morgan, I met a gentleman, and we were just smoking,
Mm-hmm.
chilling, smoking.
Right.
So I'm studying, I'm smoking my little stuff, and
Right.
and then he said, shoot, you talking about a wild woman? He put something in my hand and said, you think you could get rid of this? And I'm like, man, I looked at it and I said, I don't know. So called up one of my cousins, went to go
Uh-huh.
see my cousins, and I'm like, look, do you put this in my hand? He said we can make X amount of dollars off of this.
Uh-huh.
And then my cousin said, well, you know what to do with it? I said, no, I don't know what to do with it. He said, well, how much you want back on it? And I said, well, I want X amount of dollars back on it. So he says, okay, so he ended up, selling it. So I'm at
Right.
school while
Right.
he's out doing his thing. And then before you know it, Mama and Nkoyo, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, shoot, I'm loving this freedom, because at that point I realized that you don't need a job. You don't need to go work for
Come
white folks. You know what I mean?
on.
At this, like, and
Yeah.
people may say, well,
Yeah.
Dad, going, Doc, you were doing something illegal, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and and,
And
and out of that came the confirmation, right?
right.
Out of that
Right.
act,
Right.
that you don't need to. I don't need to work for white folks, because we were
Right.
making a lot of money. Like it
Right.
turned into an entire business, and
So
we were getting
you
things popping in
you were the
Baltimore.
you were the Tariq of B more. You know from Ghost or
we
Power
we
or whatever
we
them
were, yeah,
things.
it was we were getting it popping, absolutely, right, like you said, like Tariq, how he was going to school, but then he was doing.
Yes.
And that's what we
Right.
that's what was happening.
Wow.
That was what was happening.
Interesting.
And this was happening in grad school. So I was actually working on my doctorate at the
Wow.
time.
Come
And
on.
and I mean,
So
I'm
you
looking at
knew.
I'm
You knew
making,
better.
I'm making 30, 40,000 in a month, and this is
Wow.
just takeaway, and so
Wow.
I was like, oh man, we don't need to work for the white folks. We can get this, we can get this going, over here. And that's what I did. In fact, when I graduated, and I shared this with your husband, when I graduated, I had an ankle monitor around my ankle. When I got on the day that I got hooded, I literally had an ankle monitor on my around my ankle because I was on house arrest for 13 months.
Shut
But but
the
yes,
up.
so really like been there. So when people say, like, when
Right.
I can literally, because of all of my experiences, I can
Right.
relate to somebody who's been violated sexually. I
Right.
can relate to
Right.
people who behind a G wall because I've been
Right.
there. You know what I mean? But then
Right.
I can relate to the
Right.
professors.
That's
I can
right.
relate to the. You get what I'm saying?
That's
Literally,
a
I could relate.
duality. Yes.
Absolutely.
That's
And so
beautiful.
then when I got sat down,
Mm.
then I began to get back to
Right.
the
Who
knowledge.
you are. Right.
So I
Right.
did a lot of introspection, did a lot of healing, did a lot of just reflecting
Mm-hmm.
on where I was and why
Right.
I was where I was.
Right.
And
Right.
then I started getting back into the books, came across, Sinetta, and,
Mm-hmm.
got on Sinetta TV battling some Hebrew Israelites. Then some brother hooked me
Tearing
up
them
with,
up.
yep, then look, some brother hooked me up with Brother Ankh. And then Brother Ankh said, won't you get on the squad? And so then I got on the squad with Brother Ankh,
Right.
and he was
Right.
pumped up when he heard, oh, sister, you got a PhD in engineering. Okay. So he
Right.
put me on the squad. And so ever since then, I was a part of the community until I decided about 2-3 years ago. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about that particular,
Right.
community
Right.
until 2-3 years ago, I realized the need to detach from that community
Right.
because, and I don't want to bash anybody, but there are
Hey,
just some things that
speak your
happened in that
truth.
community. Yeah, there were some
Right.
things in that community that I didn't agree with.
Right.
I was disrespected on numerous occasions, and
Right.
I got tired of dealing, with the disrespect. And
Within
you
your
know what I mean?
own space. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be
supposed
an
to be a safe,
evolved space. A
right,
safe
supposed to be,
space.
right, supposed to be an evolved space, but it wasn't. It was
Right.
just like, it was like black men operating like white folks, like white men,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
wanted to dominate
Right.
and wanted to control and
Right.
wanted to exploit.
Right.
And so
Right.
I had to get out of that space. And so now I'm, creating my own space and creating
Yes.
my own lane. So that's how
Powerful.
I became, Dr. Ma'at. But I had to walk
Wow.
you through,
Wow.
all of that.
Wow. So it's
Yeah.
like it was inevitable. It was like you the prodigal daughter returning, It's like you start out here, and then you go back, and then you hear it. I love your story when you were saying that some people are like, man, you doing, you selling it, selling stuff, and you being, destruction to the community. But it's like, I say this. I've learned, and I at first I, what I mean, we just be like, it's the, it's the, white man's, the European. I'm like, man, why we always say what, why we always got to put it on them? I mean, ultimately, but when you go back to it, when you look at it, it all, the root of it all comes with that energy, that how when we let them in, when we open that little door, however it was on those days, that's when it really, the floodgates open. So when they say you destruction, is you doing, you're using the cards that are in your hand. You know what I'm
Absolutely, and
saying?
it was weed, by the way. I just wanted to
Oh no,
clarify.
I feel you, I
I
feel
want
you, I
nobody
feel
thinking
you.
I was, it was
No.
weed. And then look, and then they legalized it, right? And so literally, we were all on the news, and they demonized us. Oh, we got this drug ring going on. You would have thought that we were like a cartel or something, right?
You were a cartel. I'm gonna tell everybody that's in my memoir. Is going to be stated that you was a cartel. Okay, I'll just let you know.
Look, that's how they treated us. And then they demonized us, they put us in the
Wow,
paper, all sorts of
wow.
stuff. And then 2 years later,
You
3 years
gone.
later, they legalized it. And so
And
that's when I realized that that legality, right, has
yes,
nothing to do with morals
no,
and values.
nope.
It has everything to do with their ability to regulate what you're
That's it.
doing. You
That's
know what I
it.
mean? And so
Exactly
if
it.
they cannot regulate it, it's illegal. But if they
Right,
can regulate it, yeah, if they can't regulate it, it's illegal.
right.
If they can regulate it, then it becomes legal. And so you go back to, the days where they used to bootleg liquor, and
Right. I
people
was just
got
thinking
locked.
about that.
Yeah, people got
Right.
locked up for selling
Mm-hmm.
liquor. And then and
Right.
then what happened? They found a
Right.
way to regulate it, so
That's
then it
right.
became legal.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
same thing with marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
They found a way to legalize it, and I'm sorry, to regulate it. And
Right.
once they learned how to regulate it, then they said, what? Let's legalize it.
Right. Of
You know,
course.
and then you'd be surprised. Our own people, boy, they get this. If you tell somebody, that you're a felon, and people
Right.
looking at you,
Right. Right.
even your own people not
Right.
even understanding
No.
how the system is weaponized
It
against
can
our
be this.
people. Because
Right.
let me tell you what the lawyer said. Real
Okay.
talk.
Right.
When the lawyer went into the judge's chambers to discuss the case, the
Mm-hmm.
lawyer said they didn't care about the marijuana. He said they cared about the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they kicked in 16 doors and found thousands of dollars in cash. So it was about the
Ooh.
money, and
That's
Uncle
all it was
Sam
about.
wasn't getting his cut. So, but then you got
Right.
black folks turning their nose up.
Right.
Y'all was doing this, and then and
Mm.
turning their nose, and again, not even understand that what happened to us was really political. It was
Right. That's it.
highly,
What?
it
That's
was,
what it was.
it was
That's what it
extremely
was.
political.
That's
They
what it
didn't care
was.
anything about no damn
No.
marijuana. You
No.
see, they
They sure did.
legalized. Come on,
Come on.
but
Yeah.
then your own people will look at you crazy.
Because we go what he say? Oh, master say that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what. We bounce. We sit. We do that. We follow their whatever their notion is. That's what we've been taught. Like when they talk about the Willie letter. When they rather it's fictional or not, the sentiments are there. That is what we do. We go. Furlong, you keep on you pushing us through this particular door. You whipping us and saying, "Don't go here, don't go here." But I mean, after a while, it's like you're not gonna go on your own. I'm gonna put myself in this corner on my own. You ain't got to tell me. It's like a trained dog. It's like those psychologists. What is it? I forgot the names of it. I forgot anyway. When they put the little hamster on the wheel and the maze and all them different psychologists. That's I studied them, but that's Plato and Plato or whatever the names it was. If after a while you take it, you ring in that bell, to symbolize this is what I want you to do. This is where I want you to go. And then a bit further along, after a while, you don't ring the bell. You still just going to do it because it's a cycle. It's a habit. So that's what we do when we're talking. When we jump on each other, that all they have to do is put the notion out there. It don't have to be true at all. And then we jumping on it, and then we running with it. We tearing them down, and they just sit back with
Mhm.
their hands open, like, "Nah, I ain't do nothing. It's
Right,
y'all." You know what
right.
I'm saying? And so it's that psychological effect again. Everything going right back to the root of the cause, root of the problem when they dropped us on these shores and changed our names, and when they
Come
and
on.
when they and when they put it split us from our families, and when they took cut our hair and did all that stuff. That's when that shit happened is when
Mhm.
they started really to beat us down and try to break us. I think about that all the time. Is like what in we are such a beautiful and whole people here, the Africans here in America and in the
Mm.
Caribbeans, because of the shit we had to work through. We
That's right.
still thriving. We coming out. Starting with, I
S-
was talking about the Monopoly
Still we
board
rise.
game.
Still we
Man,
rise.
still we
Still we
rise.
rise.
Still we rise in the words of, of our greats, Langston Hughes and Dr. Maya Angelou, ain't been those, Crystal Steer with Langston, all that. We are who we are because we are, it's in us. It ain't on you, it's in you. We
That's right.
have to, and when we understand that. And so that's why I say when I was growing up, that defiance of saying that I'm going to question everything because I am not a follower. You're just not going to be able to tell me this is what this is. I want to know why. I want to know how. And you're not going to be able to tell me otherwise. And if you can't tell me, I'm not doing it. I'm going to go find the answer some other way. And that has got my ass whooped ever so often.
Mm.
Even with not just my grandmother or my aunts, it was with society and with myself. I even started falling into a patriarchal society and saying, looking at women like, man, you need to calm down with that. Why you gotta be like, why you gotta be so loud? Why you gotta be she's sitting standing walking like that? Why she so masculine? She must be gay. I had to
Yep.
pull myself
Yep.
back and be like, what the hell was wrong with you? They look at you like that too. You know what I'm saying? Because you're
That's right.
not conforming. We're not conforming. And going back to the question of what is wild, wild ain't got nothing to do with uncivilized. And wow has to be, I am okay in my natural state. No matter what the outside atmosphere, and this is my definition, no matter what that outside environment is saying, I'm still gonna be me. Just like a giraffe or a gazelle, because I love gazelles. Let me say that.
Mhm.
Gazelle is still gonna be grazing. I'm gonna watch, I'm observing, but I'm still, you're not gonna get no nervousness out of me. I'm going to be my wild self. I'm gonna be my, not even, I'm going to be myself, my best self right here in this moment, and ain't nothing you can do can take it away. Now when you come up on me, hyena, I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
That's
But
right.
I'm going to enjoy my food. God damn it, that's what I'm trying to say. You ain't gonna stop me from enjoying myself and living my best life how I'm supposed to live it right here
That's
right
right.
now, just because you want to be a prey, because you want to come and get what I gotta be. No. So I that's what wow symbol for me is, what it symbolizes. It's just being, whenever they call you crazy, they call you wow when you don't do what they tell
When
you
you
to
don't
do, and when you don't
conform,
conform.
that's what it
Yes,
is. When you don't
yes,
conform, you're
yes,
wild.
yes, you're
You know,
wild.
in their, with their language, you're wild. Like you said, you're uncontrollable, you're
Yes,
uncivilized.
right,
What was the other word
right.
you said? Uncivilized,
Untamed.
untamed, because you
Yes.
because you refuse to conform. That's
What?
all. I would
That's
call that. I
all.
would call that I would call that a rebel. I wouldn't say that's wild.
No, that's
That's
yes.
a rebel, and being a
Right.
rebel in this society is a badge of honor.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. I love, that's why I honor Fannie Lou Hamer. Because in all the things, this sister is born and raised Mississippi, didn't have much of an education. She was a sharecropper, but she stood up. And you know what? And this may be so vain. It's the little things for me. But when I saw her with her gold tooth in her mouth, she reminded me, man, I just something, it's something, was something about her. Like, and she was standing up top. I'm sick of tired, being sick of tired. And the way she said and she looked at them, it was just like that. I still get chills thinking about it. It was that I don't give a what you say and what you do. I am going to stand up for myself, for my people, whoever around me. I don't care. You can't hold me because I am who I am. Ain't
That's
no
right.
other person or being is going to tell me I'm not and gonna hold me down. And I love that energy. And she's like, and in spite of, I may not be able to speak as eloquently as you government officials. I may not be able to use the right words, or I may not be able to articulate as the word that things that need to be done. But I'm gonna do, my actions are going to speak for me. I'm going to tell you what we need by my actions. And nothing you say, they beat her till she was black and blue.
Yes. Are you talking about when she was in prison and they got the two brothers to do it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
even more psychologically brutal and traumatic,
Mm.
is to get some brothers to do it.
The same
How
people you're fighting for, the same folks, your people.
my and you're going to get, and just the terror and the horror they had to feel while doing that as well, and that she had to look up. Man, I just have a
Mm.
I just have a wide that's one of my women. I love faith. So
Mm.
saying that to say, looking at women like that, looking at women like Nina Simone, like I said, Eartha Kitt, Dr. Maya Angelou. Let me tell you,
Hmm.
one thing that speaks for me. Dr. Maya Angelou, she was violated at the age of 5 or 9, I think.
Mm.
5, I think.
Mm.
And when she told someone, she had families that actually gonna go, they're gonna act on what she told them. And so, and that's a we didn't see that often. So that scared her. And they went and acted. That man came up dead
I
the next
I
day.
heard, and let me tell you something, Mama and
Uh-huh.
Koyo. Let me be
Yes.
candid with you.
Yes.
I let the younger generation, and by younger generation I mean 30 and younger in my
Mm-hmm.
family. I let them know that the spirit of molestation, right, and
Mm-hmm.
pedophilia, that stuff.
Right.
I said, as long as I have breath in my body, I told them that it better not ever
Right.
come into this family. I said again,
Right.
because that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And this is
Right.
not a threat. That's a
Right.
promise.
That's
I'm
right.
I'm I'm rolling
Come
like I'm rolling
on.
like Maya Angelou
Good.
folks rolling. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And I
Right.
and I let them know that
Yes. It's gotta go.
that
It's gotta
spirit will
die.
never. That
It,
spirit is dead. That
come
spirit. That
on. It's
spirit.
gonna
That
stay
spirit. Been.
dead.
That spirit going
Yeah.
to stay dead. That
Stay
spirit.
dead.
He.
Right.
That was our grandfather. And he died in, I think,
Right.
2004, and
Right.
that's going to stay dead.
Got to.
And I told
I
them, as
say.
long as I have breath in my body, that spirit
I
will
say.
never, come into this family again, ever,
Ashe,
ever,
Ashe,
because like you said,
Ashe.
I'm rolling like them.
Right. And
We
that's
ain't,
the way it should be. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that she said she never spoke again because she felt like her voice
mm, mm, mm,
was so terrible because she spoke the truth, and that's what happened. I'm
mm.
saying that when we can't even authentically hurt for the person who harmed us, it's so, I mean, I'm not even say can't think that we are.
And
That's
her
how we were, you know what
and,
I'm
and
saying?
her victimizer, wasn't it like a friend of the family or a
Hmm.
family member?
Oh
Somebody, it
yeah.
was somebody
Oh
she
yeah.
knew.
Yeah. So that
Mm.
she was fearing him, and then she felt bad for even feeling bad for him. No one should have to feel that. And
No.
that conflict, that shit messes up a child. We are
Mm,
in our formative years, and it's like this is how it's supposed. This is supposed to be. This is how love and how the people supposed to protect me couldn't. Man, I grew up like you said, so angry,
mm-hmm,
and so angry at the world. It was like you, and it happened continually to me, continually
mm,
from here. Even when I got old enough that I can control it, I still allowed it to happen. And I
mm,
was so, because I was so angry, and to the point to where I'm like, well, God, this is what it is. I just don't, I mean, I don't want to be here. So I started
mm,
acting out like, I'm gonna get you before you get me. That's just what it's gonna
mm,
be. I became the predator. You gonna get God. My all emotions are off,
mm.
and I don't like that. That had to happen. I want to be
Right.
soft. I want to, I mean, all the time. One of my sheroes and one of my energies that I want to attain is the Claire Huxtable. She's so classy and
Yeah,
graceful, but yet
yes.
stern, and she take no
Stern.
shit. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
that was one, but I couldn't be that because I'm always rah, rah, rah. I'm like the daddy lion instead of being like the lioness. I'm like rah, and I'm like, I'm not biting everybody's head off. I'm like, man, I don't want that, and I was upset at those who did those things to me in order for me to feel the need that I have to be that way. I can't be
Same,
soft on
likewise.
my man. I want to be soft on my
Likewise.
man. You know what I'm saying? That,
Likewise. You
yeah.
get into this mode of you feeling like I gotta, like you said, I'm either get you before you get me, and
Hmm.
I gotta protect myself.
Me
You know what I
first.
mean? And
Me
you get
first.
into that. I
Right.
gotta protect myself
Right.
because I was unprotected. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so now you get
Yes.
into that mode. I just gotta
Right.
protect myself.
Right. 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 So, what do you think? What do you think? You said the being exposed to the books, that what helped you, and then you say coming back in college, that really helped turn you around. Have you had to deal with any of that mentally or spiritually? Are you in a space where you like, yeah, that's what I did, that's what I am, or those things happened then that didn't happen to, I'm not a victim, because I know I've just had to be this year, had to unpack the victim role, being a victim, everything happening to me instead of just shit happening, you know what I'm saying, and me responded to it. Did you ever have that point, and when did it, and what was that helped you kind of go beyond that feeling, if that makes
Beyond, you saying
sense?
beyond feeling like a victim?
Right.
I would say in my middle 30s.
Okay.
So
Wow.
when I
Yes.
got sat
Beautiful.
down and I began to, do some serious introspection.
Right.
It was around that time when
Okay.
I began to see myself, and I'm talking
Right.
about see myself, flaws and all,
Right.
and just see
Right.
myself. And it's a beautiful thing when you can see yourself, when you can
Mm-hmm.
see the things that you went through,
Mm-hmm.
and the things you experienced, and
Right.
how those things impacted your life, and
Right.
it just
Right.
all makes sense. Like, oh, so this is why I was so furious with men,
Uh-huh.
in my
Right.
teens, in my 20s.
Right.
Oh, so this is directly connected to being, sexually assaulted. Oh, this is
Yes.
connected to your anger towards your father. So this is
Right.
why in your teens and in your 20s, men weren't shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This,
Yes. Right.
this is
Right.
why. And
This
so
is why.
I began to see myself when I sat still. See, sometimes the ancestors sit you down, and I had to get
Yeah.
sat down. I had to get sat
Mm.
down because I was
Mm.
running. You figure I was
Right.
running.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in
Right.
college. I'm doing this. I'm doing that.
Right.
I'm selling my
Right.
little stuff. I'm all over the place,
Right.
and I wasn't thinking about it because I'm on the go. But
Right.
when you
Right.
sit down, you
Mm-hmm.
have no choice but to start thinking because you're sitting there alone with your thoughts. And I'm not really like a
Yeah.
TV person per se. Like I watch, my little shows here and
Right.
there, but I'm not the type of person that sit and just watch, TV all day, every
Right.
day. And
Right.
so during that time, I sat with myself and
Mm-hmm.
I began to unpack all of that stuff. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
cried, I
Mm-hmm.
cried. I spoke to my auntie, spoke to my mother, you know,
Right.
just releasing things.
Right.
I actually apologized to people that I myself
Come on
violated.
now. Come on now.
I had to
Right.
apologize to some
Yes.
people, because I
Ooh,
saw myself
yes.
in my stuff, and so
Yes.
I
That's good.
began to go through that, and that
That's
began
good.
my healing journey. And the reason why I'm using the word begin is
Mm-hmm.
because I'm still in that process. I don't
Yes.
I don't feel like
Yes.
I'm whole. I talk to
No.
the broken girl. I was just actually saying this today. I talk to
Uh-huh.
the little broken girl inside of me all the time. I have a
Come
conversation
on.
with her all the time, like,
Got to.
oh, so I
Right.
always say that I began my healing process
Right.
around my middle 30s. I would
Right.
say 2013, 2014. So around that time. So I was about 32 when I
Okay.
began my healing process. And I'm still,
Right.
with like in that process. So it's
Right.
not like, oh, I'm just healed and I'm just this whole
Right.
person walking
Right.
around.
Right.
I'm still healing because healing is a journey.
I
It's a
say
journey. And
it really is.
I just give thanks that I'm even on this journey because some of us don't even understand the need
Don't
to
get
heal.
it.
Some of us
Right.
think that there's nothing wrong with us. You have some
Right.
folks who think that, it's nothing wrong with
This
me. And
this just
I
this
don't
how
even
I
want to say
am.
nothing wrong. I don't even want to say wrong, but they don't think that they have things they need to repair. You
Right. They
know,
think it's justified at how they are, how what their behavior is and how they respond and things like that. Because I did.
absolutely.
I thought it was justified. All this shit that's done to me, oh, this is the least you get. You better be happy. Da, da, da. And I'm like, yeah, I got tired of the energy was too. I'm tired of being rah rah all the time. Let's just say that. And I'm really okay with just calming down and getting to that point where I can be my most authentic self. I want to receive love and I want to give love.
Ashe.
How, you know what I'm saying? And that is so, I didn't think I would be here, Dr. Ma. I promise you. I tell the
Oh,
story all the
likewise.
time.
Likewise.
Man, I learned, I'm a big speller. I've been spelling bees second grade, 7 years old, spelling bee. One of my words is pessimistic. I learned to spell it, learned the definition, the origins, the etymology. I was like, oh, that's what I am, pessimistic. From
Mm,
7 years old, and I've lived that life out up until maybe a couple of years ago, if not even this year, unpacking that and saying, I don't have to be that. I don't have to see that ugly in everyone right off the bat. And I would always say I would give people a chance, but then I don't think I really did because I was always expecting you to fuck up. I was
right.
always expecting that. Even though I said I'm gonna give you a chance, I see it, I'm gonna give, but I always gave. But I saw it. I was always there, so I was expecting it. So I was ready. So when he came along, I ain't mad. I expect this. I ain't have my mama or my dad here. My grandmother barely want me. So I'm walking with this badge of honor
Mm,
of all this shit. I bet ain't nobody want me. So what are you gonna do? I just
mm.
walk away. Again, walk away, keep it moving. And so just being able to be vulnerable with someone and be able to unpack those things and be my most authentic self. And that's where the warrior for me comes in at, is that I
That's right.
made it through all that.
That's
We
right.
made it through all we made it through all that and still could be
Resilient.
up here and still
Resilient.
could be up here saying, yeah, I love black men, I love black folk, and I love myself
Ashe.
and I love my life. I
Ax
ain't, you know what I'm
Ashe.
saying? To be able to say that, and that feels good to be able to speak to other people and especially other black women who have been able to say, "Yep, I'm good. I this shit happened, but I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
still look,
good."
still I rise. Still,
Man,
still I rise.
absolutely, absolutely. I've found that I've gotten. I didn't like to. At first, I was a badge of honor again. Strong. You a strong black woman. And just last 3 4 years, I'm like, I don't want that. Don't get that to me. I'm good. I'm good. Don't call me strong because that means that I feel like if you say that, then you feel comfortable with unpacking your own shit on me and
Hmm,
expecting
hmm.
something from me, expecting me to take it and take it and take it. Oh, she gonna be good because she a strong black woman. I don't want that because I want to be
Mm.
allowed to tell you now that shit ain't right. I don't like it. I'm hurt, and
Thank
I
you.
want
There,
you to
there
be
we
able to
go.
hear me.
I was just getting ready to say that.
You
When
know?
people put that on you, you're strong, you're strong, you're strong. And then like you said, no, like I want to be able to be vulnerable.
Yes,
And being vulnerable
yes,
requires strength too. But
yes. It does.
when you say she's a strong, like you said, people the perception is that you're unbreakable, that you
Yes.
don't hurt, that you're
Right. Right.
emotionless, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
no, I have emotions. In fact, I
Yes.
experienced the whole array, a whole gamut,
Mm-hmm.
of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's
Absolutely.
okay. That's
Yes.
okay.
As a
You
whole
know.
human, I'm a whole being. So
Right.
yes, I love that. So while Woman King is coming out, I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna
I
while
can't
I'm thinking about it.
I can't wait to see that. When is the drop? Let me
Good.
see. Let me see.
September
When is.
16th.
Oh, I'm in there. I'm in there.
I want to make it as big as we want to make Black Panther. You know, I want to make it like that because that is such despite the naysayers and they, it's gonna be, they poking at it already. It's gonna be some white this, it's gonna be some gay this. I look at the energy. I'm going to see it from, and I'm gonna up it. I'm gonna big it up as big as I would anything else before
Absolutely.
myself.
Let me put
Because
the
that
factor in.
energy, yeah. We can. I want to be able to break it down. I want to go watching and break it down. So, but having that out there, I want to. I was hoping that I wanted to that you answered it for me because you say you're looking forward to it. So I was gonna ask, what did you think about it? It's just like I said, with everybody talking about, oh, here we go. It's all white writers or it's the LBGTQ. I I understand all that, but I'm gonna still dig and get because I get, I think a lot of us we tend to get retrospective from wherever I'm looking at that and there may be some shit in there, but I'm gonna look over that. I don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I'm gonna take
And I'm the
what you know what I'm
same way.
saying?
I'm the same way. People, and what I say to those naysayers, well, go make your own goddamn movie, and then you
That
can say
part. That
you can
part.
write the script, you
Right.
can record and put your own money in
Right.
it because
Right.
a lot of us will sit back and we critique things,
Hmm.
and it's easy to sit there and offer your criticism.
Right. Right.
And so to the naysayers, I say, well, won't you write a movie,
Right.
about the female kings? As a matter of fact, there was a female
Hmm.
king that was just installed in Ghana a few years ago. Her name was
Really?
King Peggy. So her name was King
Wow.
Peggy. If you do a quick Google
Wow.
search on King Peggy, I read her
Ah.
book, and
King
she was
Peggy.
King Peggy, and she was initially in DC,
Okay.
working at, I think, a secretary at one of the embassies. I want to say it was the Ghanaian embassy, and she found out that I believe one of her uncles passed and he didn't have any sons, and so the crown ended up going to her. And actually
Hmm.
Will Smith bought the rights to her story. He was getting ready to produce a film, based on her
Okay.
life. And so when Woman King came, when I saw the commercial on Woman King, I was thinking
Right.
like, oh, this may be
Yeah. Right.
the
King.
Will Smith. But
Right.
then I saw
Right.
that Will Smith doesn't have anything to do with Woman King, and that Woman King was based on, they say, true events in the Dahomey kingdom.
Yeah.
And
The
so I
hmm
realized
hmm
that it's not the same story.
Yeah.
But I say
Right.
all that to say that anybody who, like you said, the naysayers, the critics, if you feel like, oh, it's too Hollywood, it's too whitewashed, then let's tell our own story
That part.
about our own female kings instead
That
of
part.
sitting there, patronizing them, one, because they're gonna go
Right.
see it.
You know
So,
it. You know it.
patronizing them, one, and then two, sitting back and criticizing. See,
Criticizing.
that's the easy part, to
It
sit back
is.
and throw
Mm-hmm.
tomatoes at something. But
Right.
instead of doing that, how about you produce, and
That
then
part.
you depict the story the way you want to depict the
Mm-hmm.
story.
Mm-hmm. And that's what art is about. I love to say, you say they want to sit back and talk, but they want to sit back and talk about you enjoying it. They want to criticize you in celebrating the it's the imagery. It is the energy, the energy and the history that they're portraying there. Forget always. We understand it's all entertainment. Stop looking for something like you said. Stop looking for it to be depict actual factual things unless you're going to do it how you want it.
Right.
We all understand it's entertainment, and with all that shit we have to understand, we have to be able to discern shit. Stop trying to we love to just tear shit down when it comes to our shit and our stuff. Stop tearing it. Let us enjoy, take what we take, let's fix, let's talk about it, work it out, and then like you said, come back with what you want it to look like. There's a mark. We have a brother that's, as a matter of fact, we have a brother that's local, doctor. I mean, not doctor. Brother Gerard Photo, out of Dallas. He's trying to do. He's doing a film about Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He's been trying to fundraise for that to become an actual film. So let's put our stuff behind that. But we
That's
want
right.
we just want to sit back and complain instead of doing something about it. And that is where I draw, where I just jump off and I'm like, I don't go with the flow. You say you don't like it, that's gonna make me want to go see it anyway. I'm gonna go see it and get my own formulate my own opinion. So I was saying that to say I want to make a big deal out of it because I love Viola Davis's transformation herself, as far as how she came into the industry and how she had to work. She worked the way she did all of them look the the basic roles that they give us, a
Yes.
housekeeper and all that shit, all the poor this, and then she's really making a stance. And I've watched her evolve as well because she's been kind of transparent about her walk mentally and psychologically and things. So I love listening to that. So I want to support. But yeah, I'm very energized by the Woman King because again, it's our history. I'm
Absolutely.
it's going to cause somebody. It's going to spark that spark to cause somebody to go research, go look up some things, and that's all that matters. That's all that
That's right.
matters.
That's right. And then, like you say, shoot, we could take the images and then really break down, so this is true, this is
Right,
fiction, and just
right,
and use
right.
it as a teaching moment.
Right, right, right.
I saw that Baba put in the chat. He said criticism is welcomed. He said, but examples are preferred. Ashe,
I
Baba. Like,
say, I say,
yeah.
show me, because I'm gonna still do. And I'm one. I mean, could probably beg to differ, but I'm one that I tend to. If you show me how what is right, I'm gonna follow. I will acquiesce if I come and I know that I don't get it, that I. But when you're talking and doing all this and you're not putting no work behind it, I'm be like, all right, man, I'm just gonna blow you off. I got to keep it moving how I'm moving. This is working best for me. This is what
Right.
I'm gonna do. So, warrior, wild warrior. So, woman king. That's what I was talking about. Being a warrior, showing the Dahomey queens and the warrior. As in the warrior roles. I love it. I love it because I always see myself as a warrior. I mean, Black Panther really pushed me to go and cut this. I was like, yeah, I'm doing Malaj. And one of the sisters' name was Nkoya. And I was like, yeah, that's close to Nkoyo. That's me. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. Yeah. So I'm always looking for that shame, that those people who are showing me the strength and the power. More so not even strength, but just the power and authority that they yield, but still maintain their sense of grace and femininity. That duality, just with Queen Hatshepsut. She was the woman king. They deemed her as the woman king as well because she
Absolutely.
she she dressed up like a man because she knew her people were not going to accept her being ruling the kingdom as a woman. She understood that, and so uh,
And the
yes,
brothers
okay,
and
thank you.
the brothers mama and Koyo, speaking of
Yes.
Queen Hatshepsut, the brothers was, I mean, they were clowning her in the
Oh
so-called
yeah,
conscious community, calling her a
yeah,
cross dresser because she
yeah.
would come
See,
out, remember, she would wear
so
the
what the
beard,
full
and she
beard
would
and
wear,
everything.
yeah,
Hmm.
she would wear because she had to present herself, as the king.
As the
and
king.
and
So
and and, and so people were calling her a cross dresser and all sorts
right,
of stuff. And then
right.
I read that, I don't know if it was her nephew or son or somebody
Uh
was
huh.
trying to erase her
Yes,
memory. I
yes,
mean,
yeah. I think it was
all
her
sorts
nephew.
of
Yeah,
stuff.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. And even with Queen Amina, no, it was a Queen Nzinga, not Queen Amina, Queen Nzinga. Having to fight the Portuguese, and then them disrespecting her. And then her people. I loved that they made forth to put in that story that it was her men, her guards that sat, that made a chair for her to sit, and so that she could be in the midst of these people. They're gonna disrespect her, but her people is gonna be, now she's gonna be respected here. So
Absolutely.
I loved it, and I loved it that they made sure it was said that it was men, her guards, and so just to show that reverence. And even with King Pianki, I believe it was, he paid homage to his mama, by making sure he paid homage by making her bigger than him and putting him in his lap. At first, I didn't know. I thought that was a little, petty. I ain't know, but I mean, had to explain it to me. He was like, no, he just not. He, I thought it was a little simpish, Bianca sitting in his mama's lap, but it was like, no, it's a symbolism of him honoring his mama, of being, what he's, coming from her. He knows that she's more important. She's the creator. She's the all in all.
Shame.
She's the first teacher. So I know my producers, engineer, and all that has just told me we have about in a little over 15 minutes, so I want to start wrapping it up. But I wanted to wrap it up by asking, who are some of those warrior women that you saw either within your family or women that are, that we know in a community that really has made an impact on your life? Um,
Well, I would have to start with my grandmothers, my paternal and maternal
Ashe,
grandmothers. My paternal grandmother, Myrtle Bailey, she was a
Ashe,
warrior. You know,
yeah,
she had seven children. Well, really eight, and the
uh huh,
eighth child had died. I think it was like
okay,
SIDS back then, but I don't think
okay,
they call it SIDS back then. They
right,
called it like cradle death or something
right,
like that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But oh no, I'm getting it mixed up. Oh, I'm getting it mixed up. Her eighth child died. He choked on a hot dog.
Oh
Yeah, he was eating
wow,
a hot dog. He choked on something, and I think they took him to Bon Secours. I call it Bon Secours, but Bon Secours Hospital.
mm,
Something got, I don't know if it was a hot dog, but something got
right,
caught in his. It cut off the
right, right,
circulation.
right, right,
They
right,
rushed him
right.
to the hospital, and the doctors wouldn't take him. They wouldn't wait on him because he was
Wow,
black.
because he
And
was
so he ended
black.
up
Right.
dying. So that's what happened. And
Okay.
then, so she lost a child. She had eight children, lost the eighth one. And then, when my father was 11 and the eldest son was 14, she lost her husband. He ended up, my grandfather, Henry Bailey, had a massive heart attack. And so this is a
Wow.
woman who literally went from being a housewife
Right.
to having to become,
The head of the house.
yeah, the head of the
Right.
household,
Right.
the breadwinner,
Right. Right.
and she raised all of her children.
Right.
All of them at least graduated from high school.
Right. Right.
Three or four, no, five of them went on to college. It was only
That's what's
two
up.
out of
That's
the
what's
seven,
up.
so five of them went on to college.
Yeah.
And not only did she do that, she was heavily involved in the community here in
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore. In fact, she established, there's a community rec center here in Baltimore called the MLK Center, the
Okay.
Martin Luther King Jr. Recreation Center. That's located over in West Baltimore. She was instrumental in starting that. She also founded a Echo House, which is an organization that helps, women helps women take advantage of like government services and things of
Okay.
that nature.
Cool.
And so she
Cool.
founded Echo House. And so my father always
Wow.
says, "You are your grandmother's, child." And so,
Mm-hmm.
so she's my inspiration. She inspired
That's
me.
what's up.
I
Murder
lost her.
baby.
We lost her in 1984. So I only
Okay.
had her for only been around her for only was around her for 3 years. But
Wow.
she
But then she
definitely
made a
like
major
hearing
impact.
major impact, just hearing
Right.
stories about her and what she accomplished and what she overcame.
Right.
It's very inspiring. So, and then you have my maternal grandmother, Evelina McFadden. And so
Mm-hmm.
this was a woman who was born in Sumter County, South Carolina, and even
Okay.
with the
Right down the
great
street from us.
with the sixth grade education,
Okay.
managed to have seven kids, raise her children. All of them
Okay.
graduated from high school. She worked
Yes.
in the church, worked in the community, really in the church.
Right.
But she inspired me. So that it very her strength inspired me.
Oh,
And then
shame.
I would definitely say my mother.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was definitely my inspiration. In fact, I remember when I was a kid,
Mm.
I used to look on the wall at her degrees, and I said, "Ma, I'm gonna surpass you in education." I wanted to beat
Mm.
her, and I thought
Yes.
about, like, she had her bachelor's and then she had her master's, and I said,
Yeah.
"Damn, if I want to beat her, I'm gonna have to go
Good. Gotta
all the
go the whole
way."
way. All the
So,
way.
she definitely inspired me
Mm-hmm.
to pursue higher education. And she also is heavily involved in working with the youth.
That's
I
beautiful.
watched my mother as a kid. I watched my mother purchase, uniforms for children,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
food for children,
Right.
hygiene products, and they would come into the school system and wash up in the bathrooms. And so she went over and beyond. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
As an
Yes.
educator, she went over and beyond. And so
Right.
she definitely, inspires me. I'm thinking about my aunt Shell.
Yeah.
My auntie is definitely, a warrior woman.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that taught me that being dark skinned was beautiful.
Wow.
Because we
Wow.
grow up, and experience colorism, and we
Right.
experience it on both
Oh
sides,
yeah.
light skin and dark skin. But when I
Absolutely.
was growing up, colorism was and still is, prevalent in our community. And
Mm-hmm.
so she, as a dark skinned woman, reaffirmed, my beauty and told me that dark skin is beautiful. So she used to
Right.
rock car, her license tag said dark and lovely, soft and beautiful. So she
Come
had
on. I love that.
so
Yeah.
she was the one that let me know, like, it's okay to be a dark skinned woman. It's
Right.
okay. That's beautiful.
Right.
And so she's
Right.
definitely a warrior woman, very strong woman. In fact, I call her Segment. That's my nickname for her.
Okay.
Because she's
Okay.
very strong and she's, don't mess with the people that she loves,
Right.
or
Right.
else going to
Right.
be some issues. So
I love that.
definitely her. And then I could think of other people like my
Right.
aunt Rosa. That's my mother's best friend, but I call her my aunt.
Yes.
Very strong woman. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about her. She's like a godmother slash
Right.
aunt to me.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very strong women. Those baby boomer women, boy.
Yeah, they
Very,
went
very,
hard. They
yeah,
went
very,
hard.
very hardcore females. And then of
Right.
course then I had other influences, right?
Right.
Like Ida B. Wells, and
Right.
just I just my hat goes off to just the amount of strength it took. This woman was literally going around
Yes. Yes.
investigating lynches,
Yes.
writing about them, and
Yes.
publishing her
Publishing them.
findings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That took a lot of strength in like what the
Absolutely.
1800s
It was. It
to
was.
do that,
Yes.
and so
And she was
salute
getting threats and
yeah,
everything.
death threats
Yes.
and everything. So,
Right.
salute the people like Ida B. Wells. Salute the people. We talked about Fannie Lou Hamer. We talked about Harriet Tubman. There was
Right.
another female I want to talk about before we close.
Okay.
Her name is Lucy. A lot of people don't know that
Yeah.
she was involved in the Nat Turner Rebellion. And so,
Really?
no, yeah, Lucy, it was a couple of females who were
Come
involved in the. As a matter of fact,
on.
there's a picture. Oh man,
Okay.
I want to share my screen. Please let me share my screen. Hold on one
Yes,
second.
let me see.
Let me see. Hold on. I want to show
You
you
should
all
be
this.
able to. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nat Turner photo. A lot of people. I'm looking for it right now, and she's on a
Okay.
horse with the fellas, and
Okay.
she got hung with them too. Nat Turner, Nat
Wow. I will never forget Miss
Turner,
Lucy then.
his crew, and the court records tell us, and that that she cursed those crackers all the way to the hanging post, cursed them out.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm looking.
Yes.
Let me see Nat Turner. I'm looking for the photo right now, Queen Nat
No
Turner
problem. No problem.
on
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah, as you do that, I've just looked up, like I said, my grandmother, looked up my mom,
Shay.
um, my aunt Linda. She was the darkest of darkest. My mother was dark as well, and I loved their skin. Their skin. I've always been just intrigued and fascinated with dark skin. I loved it, and just beauty. My aunt Linda gave me such a love that I can't even explain it. She would always smile, and in the midst of the shit she was going through, and I knew the shit she was going through, but she would always make it her point to give me that love and that hug, and she would always be like my Coco. That was my nickname growing up, was Coco, and she would just have such a beautiful pearly whites and smiling, and her energy, and just she worked in construction. She was again. That's why I could navigate, towards it. She worked in construction. She was always told she was rough, and and all that. So, but she didn't. She did it anyway. She lived her life just so freely, and so I would have to definitely shout out to my aunt Linda. Those are definitely women. All the women, based really, because I'm like yourself. I learned early in age to humanize them and their experience. So I didn't hate or have any disdain for
Mhm.
my people. I just understood they did with best with what they had from where they were, and so all of them give me strength, but definitely those three. My grandmother, I grew up. My grandmother would, one of the stories we always hear about is she shot. She keep a sawed off shotgun by her door, and she would shoot a nigga who would try to come up on her. And she shot a couple of them. I remember sitting on the
Yeah.
porch, and she was shooting them, shot him in his ass, and I was like, yes, So I enjoy. I remember stuff like that. But did you find the pic? I don't
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah.
sure.
No, no.
Okay,
I
cool.
found it. So it's at the bottom of
Okay.
your screen. You have to add it to the show.
Okay, let me make sure I can do that. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, there it is right there. I see it.
All right. So
Bam.
here she is. And a lot of people, when they look at this, they're
Hmm.
like, man. So this is James McGee, and
Okay.
he has a photo called "Road to Jerusalem."
Hmm.
And in
Hmm.
the photo, he shows he is Nat Turner. Oops, let me go back. I don't know what that is. Let me go
I
back.
know. Right. They do that stuff. Be putting
Yeah.
other stuff in it. And
Yeah, sick stuff, man. But you see in this photo, and I
I
guess
see.
I don't know how to enlarge it because when I hit visit, it takes me here, and then some crazy stuff pops up. So I'm looking for it, but I don't see how it's a bunch of pop ups.
Right. Bunch of ads and shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah. Yeah.
stand it, man. So, all right. So anyway,
But
anybody can Google the
right.
photo by George McGee,
Right.
Road to Jerusalem. But if you look, there's a woman right here. No, right here. I'm sorry, right here in the
Right
blue
there.
dress.
Okay.
That's Lucy. So
That's what's
typically when we
up.
hear about the Nat Turner Rebellion, you hear
Right.
about the brothers. They show the brothers, even in the movie, movie Birth of a Nation.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
They showed the brothers,
That's
you know,
right.
out there
That's right.
fighting, but they
That's
don't tell
right.
you about Lucy and a
Come
couple of the
on.
other females who were, you know, complicit. You know, they were down.
Right.
They were involved.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
Lucy actually, this court documents that talk about, you know, how she was found guilty
Mm-hmm.
and how she cursed those white folks out all the way to the
Come
hanging
on.
post.
Come on.
She didn't apologize. She didn't
Come
cry. She
on.
didn't
That's right.
express any remorse. And she went out.
Yes.
You know, she went out. So
Yes.
that's Lucy. That's Lucy right there. You
Uh
know,
huh.
look at her riding right there.
Yes.
You
Right
know,
there in the midst
with the fellas. And
with the
so
fellas. I love that. I would not forgive
absolutely
her ever again. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
no problem.
Yes.
So I just wanted
And
to acknowledge her. You know,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I appreciate that.
you talked about it was a couple of people, Cecile Fatima, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Suzanne Belair who actually got shot alongside her husband.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
they
Yes.
beheaded
I
him.
remember that.
They
Mm-hmm.
beheaded him, and then
And
you
she
know
made them
she
made
made
them
and she
shoot her head on. Take my mat. Take my
yeah she said I
mask
want
off or whatever.
yeah. So
Look me in the
she
eye.
yeah, so those sisters, those warrior sisters,
Yes. I
when
say.
I think about those sisters and when I think about what Queen Mother Harriet, you know,
Yes.
went through, and so those
Right.
are the different things, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what's up. And just real quick, some of the things some tools that have helped you, you know, just to be solid within yourself, I should say. Some tools that help you spiritually, you know, emotionally, whatever. What are some things that you do?
Definitely EFI,
I say.
definitely, you know,
Okay.
learning about EFI and becoming an
Okay.
EFI practitioner.
Okay.
I'm not as deep in as I would like to. Like I haven't dedicated
Right.
a lot of
I
time
say. I say.
that I should, but definitely, you know, African spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
definitely the Community of Self by Dr. Naeem Akbar. I mean, that book is only
Yeah.
68 pages, but when I
It's
tell you,
deep, man.
it's
Go
deep.
hard. Yes.
Yes,
I
it's
love it.
deep.
Yes.
Looking
Yes.
at the self as a community
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
working to maintain, working to maintain. I'm sorry, working to ensure
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that all of these different components
Mm-hmm.
are within balance. So
Right.
just, you know, just recognizing when I'm operating with an unchecked ego, like my
That part.
ego is a little bit, you
Uh-huh.
know,
Look.
or my
Oh,
will,
oh.
yeah, or my
Mm-hmm.
will is my willpower or my consciousness
Right.
or my drives or my senses, you know,
Yes.
aren't in balance or in harmony or
I
working in
love that.
harmony with each other. So
Yes, ma'am.
Community of Self, definitely a great book.
Okay.
All of the work by Dr. Amos Wilson
Okay.
has helped me grow in a
I
lot of
say.
ways. The developmental psychology of the Black child, you know, understanding how our children think
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
best approaches to cultivating them, you know, to be the best versions of themselves is found right in that book. And
Right.
so all of the work of Dr. Amos Wilson has helped me progress. Um, I'm trying to think what else. So I said African spirituality.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what else. You know, Dr. Naeem Akbar, all of his work, Breaking the Chains of
I
Psychological
say.
Slavery, Know Thyself, all of that different stuff. I'm a bookworm.
I see.
And
I
so
see. You
yeah,
naming
yeah.
all the books. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not gonna read that. Too many big words. I
So
leave
it's
that
like
to you. And I mean, I ask him. Okay, so we can discuss that.
so it's like all of that stuff, you know, all of that stuff literally help me grow, you know, help me evolve. People, you know, different people in my life have helped me
Hmm.
evolve, and so I give thanks for the different people in my life, people who
Right.
have supported me over the years. I give
Right.
thanks to the master teachers, you know, the elders and the ancestors.
I
And so
say. I
that's
say.
those are my tools.
Well, I give thanks for that. I give thanks for that. Those are great tools. And um, before we get out, want to make sure that I would be remiss to make certain that I get you to. We talk about we have collaborated with an organization that we both you're very with your STEM, background, and it's called Be Like a Girl. My sister Kamaria and I, we asked you to be a part of the organization, and I'm so grateful that you have. And I wanted to make sure that I put it out there. Be Like a Girl is an organization is dealing with the she STEM, as we call it. Women in STEM, working with those careers and
Mhm.
and really just reversing those stigmas of gender roles with women, and how we can be in STEM, and we broadening their horizons to be more of us represented within the careers and with the those of STEM. So I wanted to make sure I say thank you for that as well and point that out. Be Like a Girl, the organization will be. You can go to belikeagirl.org, and you'll be able to find more information about us. And we are it's a rites of passage program that we represent. And so go there if you want any more information. And again, Dr. Ma'at, how can anyone get in touch with you and get more information about you, or follow you on any of your platforms?
Absolutely. And so if someone wants to reach out to me, my email address is dr.maat.msu@gmail.com. Again, I'm on all social media platforms for now, right? Until
Uh-huh,
for
right.
now. So I'm on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. My handle is just simply, Dr. Maat.
Mm-hmm,
Okay. So you
mm-hmm,
can search, my full name, Dr. Oya Edwa Maat. But I'm on all social media platforms. Or if people are interested in learning more about my programs, please visit
yes. Mm-hmm,
edanimeproductions.com to check out my programs. And I even have separate websites for some of my other programs, like Conscious Ingenuity. If you're interested in learning STEAM from an African Center perspective, people can go to consciousingenuity.com.
mm-hmm,
Or we have the SAFO training camp in
mm-hmm,
Baltimore, for young boys between the ages of 12 and 14. So if you want your child, or your son, as I should say, involved in character education, self-defense, safety. I'm trying to think what else we did with them. We did physical fitness.
mm-hmm.
We They learned about the principles of Ma'at and Nguzo Saba, and literally it was just men pouring into young boys. So iron just sharpening iron.
Wow,
And so if
yes.
you're interested in getting your son in the Asafo training camp, you can visit asafocamp.com.
Camp.com. I got it. I'm putting it in there right now. Well,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much
Mama.
for that. Absolutely. And again, I am Nkoyo Ojuok, and I am the co-founder of the Uhuru Academy. And if you would like to get with us, I'm putting that in the chat as well, uhuruacademy.com or www.uhuruacademy.org as well. That's a website that we're currently working on. That's going to be our umbrella platform that we house everything Uhuru Academy there as well. So definitely check us out. We're on Facebook, the Uhuru Academy. I'm on Facebook as Ifayemi Nkoyo Binah, and I'm also on TikTok and Instagram as Nkoyo Binah. So follow us there. And again, I thank you, Wow Warrior Women, for hanging out with us this evening. It's been beautiful, Dr. Ma. I really enjoyed this. We are going to do this again. Other conversations. Uh,
Absolutely.
I knew I enjoyed your spirit when I met you, and I was like, yeah, we'll get to talk. This sister, she had that
Absolutely.
great balance of duality. So I love that. Um, and we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Until next time, uh, wow, warrior women or warrior wow women, and we can debate that all you can. If you don't like that term, come on and talk to me. I don't have any stake in that term either. So I'll just some way to get that's those things that we understand alike, so that we can break those things down. But until next time, you everybody have a great night. You guys enjoy your evenings, and you have a wonderful one. All right, peace.
Peace.
Peace. Let's see.